The first time I saw a brain melt in front of a train sign was in Tokyo Station at rush hour. All announcements echoing and shoes slapping tile like rain. I'm staring at the board, kanji, hiragana, little English line that clearly says Yokohama. An overconfident dad in a neon visor points at it and goes, "So, which one says, for Americans?" The attendant blinks, follows his finger, then looks back at him like the man just asked for a private railway. "All trains are for humans, sir," he says. Nothing like getting one-upped by customer service before coffee. In London's underground, the air smelled like metal, damp clothes, and life choices. I'm on the platform watching the sign flip from 2 minutes to due. A wellness Karen in overpriced athleisure frowns at the screen and asks, "Is due a place or a feeling?" She turns to me. Serious. "Does this train go to due, or am I just emotionally behind?" The British guy next to us doesn't even look up from his phone. "Love, due, means it should have been here already," he says. Naturally, the train arrived late just to prove his point. In Berlin Hauptbahnhof, the board was a spreadsheet on steroids. Platforms, times, tiny delays everywhere. A college bro with a backwards cap stares up and says, "Bro, what's Gleis? Is that like German for vibes?" His friend answers with full confidence, "Nah, dude, that's the model of the train." A conductor walking by just stops, looks at them, and quietly points at the actual platform number sign. "Gleis means track," he says, then walks off before the stupidity spreads. Yeah, the real German efficiency was him escaping that conversation. At Shinjuku, one of those platforms where 10 lines share the same 3 brain cells, the sign flashes different colors and arrows. An Instagram travel girl pulls out her phone, filming the chaos. "Okay guys, it says local and rapid. Which one is more spiritual?" she whispers. She turns to an old man and asks, "Does rapid mean it's in a hurry with my destiny?" He smiles politely and says, "Rapid means fewer stops. Destiny still same." That man just did therapy in 8 words and a head nod. In Paris Gare du Nord, the announcement board clicked like a giant nervous keyboard. A retired rich couple squints at the word retard next to their train. The husband gasps, "Oh no, our train got slower." The wife panics, clutching her handbag. A random student nearby says, "It just means delayed, relax." The husband mutters, "Why don't they just say delayed like normal people?" The board quietly changed from retard 10 min to retard 25 min, like France saying, "Ask again, I dare you." In Rome's Termini station, pigeons walked around like they paid rent. A loud Texas guy in a giant belt buckle stared at the board where it said Binario 4. He shakes his head and says, "See, that's why Europe's confusing. Where's track 4? "I only see this Binario, dude." A cleaner pushing a cart just points at the big 4 right next to the word. "4, she says without slowing down. Yeah, sometimes the signage isn't the problem. It's the software behind the eyes. In Seoul, underground at Seoul Station, the signs glowed clean and polite in 3 languages. A wellness influencer in a white hoodie points at the women-only car icon on the screen. "Is that like a suggestion or a boundary?" she asks her phone. She starts drifting toward the wrong car anyway, still talking about energetic choices. A tiny grandma grabs her sleeve, drags her back to the general car, and says, "Boundary." Honestly, that one syllable hit harder than any self-help book. In New York's Grand Central, tourists were orbiting the departure board like lost moons. I overhear a business consultant explaining the Metro North sign to his equally confused friend. "See where it says Express and Local. Express is clearly the premium tier, like first class," he says. His friend nods, impressed. The announcer comes on, "Local train will depart first. Express is 20 minutes delayed." The friend asks, So, the premium one is worse. The consultant stares at the board, updating his entire worldview in silence. In Kyoto, at a quiet little station with mountains in the distance, the sign shows a tiny icon of a man bowing and the word "out of service." A first-time traveler tilts her head and whispers, "Is that a formal apology from the train?" She asks the station attendant, "Is the train emotionally unavailable?" He answers, "No, just not running." She nods like she's been dumped by public transport. Yeah, Japan gives you closure even when the vehicle isn't coming. In Amsterdam Central, bikes outnumbered regrets. Over at the platform, a backpack bro with a map half folded sees the sign Intercity Direct and Sprinter. He grins, "Dude, Sprinter must be faster. That's literally the word." A Dutch student next to him sighs and goes, "Sprinter stops at every village your ancestors forgot." He points at the board, "Intercity is faster." Bro's eyebrows do a full marathon trying to catch up with that concept. In Bangkok, the SkyTrain platform was hanging in hot air above a traffic apocalypse. A honeymoon couple in matching shirts stared at the sign that clearly said National Stadium with an arrow. The husband squinted, but which nation, ours or theirs? An office worker behind them just blinked slowly. "You are in Thailand?" she says. "It is their stadium. You are just visiting." Honestly, that might be the cleanest summary of tourism I've ever heard. In Munich, at the S-Bahn platform, a sign flashed "Nicht einsteigen" on a totally empty train. A movie fanatic nodded sagely and said, "Bro, that's German for secret level, locals only." He reaches for the door anyway. A conductor blows his whistle so loud even his confidence jumps back. "It means do not board," the guy shouts. Cut scene over. Yeah, not every door is a plot twist. Some are just illegal. In Hong Kong, Mong Kok Station pulsed like a motherboard having a panic attack. An overconfident dad 2.0 pointed at the MTR map above the platform. "Look, honey, they color-coded it so tourists don't cry," he says, zooming in on the red line. Then he frowns at the exit A1, A2, B1 signs and goes, "They numbered the doors wrong. Letters should come after numbers." A local teen holding a bubble tea just laughs and walks away. Bro, if your biggest problem is letter order, you're having a great day. In Zurich, everything was so clean the pigeons probably had retirement plans. A minimalist adventurer with a tiny black backpack stared at a departure board with 5 lines of info. "This is visual noise," he muttered. "They should only show my train." An old Swiss man next to him snorted. "The world does not declutter for you," he said. The board calmly continued to show reality in multiple fonts. In Lisbon's Cais do Sodré station, the digital display read "Linha Verde, direction Cascais." A complainer, "Dad fumed, why don't they put it in American?" His teenager squinted. "It literally says green line and direction, Dad." He huffed louder. "Yeah, but the accent is aggressive." Somewhere, Fado music swelled dramatically on his behalf, and then ignored him. In Stockholm's Central Station, soft lighting made everyone look like they had their life together. On the platform, a wellness Karen 2.0 stared at the quiet, silent car icon on the overhead sign. "Is that a suggestion or a contract?" she whispered loudly. She climbed into that car still on her phone, explaining Nordic calm to her followers. 3 Swedes simultaneously looked up with the most devastating micro-frown in history. Without a word, she stepped back out. That sign didn't need enforcement. It had a culture. In Marrakesh, the train station looked like a palace that had learned to read timetables. A TikTok travel expert pointed at the screen showing "on time" and "retard estimé 10 min" for different trains. She gasped, "Guys, they're rating the trains on time or retarded. Cancelled. Shadow banned. A staff member, exhausted on a spiritual level, corrected her, "It means delayed, not canceled, just living, like us." She smiled at the camera anyway. "So yeah, the train's shadow banned for 10 minutes. Yeah, language didn't fail, comprehension did." In Nairobi, the new commuter rail had screens that still smelled like fresh plastic. A business consultant on a safari casual trip studied the sign, "Boarding closes 3 minutes before departure." He turned to the station agent and said, "That's not customer-centric. We should make it 30 seconds. The agent stared at him so hard, time slowed down. "We like trains to leave," he replied. The consultant quietly put his notepad away, like someone had just slapped a KPI out of his hand. In Vienna, the U-Bahn station signs were so clear a toddler could navigate, which made what happened next impressive. A Florida man variant stared at the emergency exit sign, a running stick figure heading toward a door. "So that's the logo for the gym car?" he asked. His girlfriend squinted. "Maybe it's a jogging route." An old lady with the most Austrian energy in the world murmured, "It means run away," and shuffled past them. Yeah, sometimes clip art is begging for help and people still miss it. In Osaka, at a suburban station with vending machines humming like insects, the sign above the platform read, "Women only, weekdays, 7-9 a.m. A college bro 2.0 pointed and said, "Oh, that must be like VIP seating, right?" His friend shrugged. "Maybe it's quieter, Wi-Fi or something." A woman nearby finally turned and said, "It's for not being harassed." Their mouths shut so fast, the wind changed direction. In Helsinki, winter had turned the station platforms into personality tests. A honeymoon couple from somewhere sunny stood under a sign that said, "Track 5 canceled due to weather." The husband frowned up at the perfectly clear sky. "But it's not even snowing," he complained. The local next to him shrugged. "Weather is not only what you see, it is what the train feels." The guy stared into the middle distance like he'd just heard a haiku he didn't deserve. In Madrid's Atocha, under that indoor jungle, a backpack bro tried to decode the departure screen. He saw Via 2 and Retraso 15 min and said, "Via like via Instagram. They post the delay there." A woman with a suitcase bigger than his entire life chimed in, "Via means platform, retrato means you wait." He started to correct her Spanish, and then realized he had no idea what he was saying. Yeah, every once in a while, even a backpack realizes it's just decoration. In Jakarta, a humid station buzzed with fans that were losing the battle. A bargain hunter in a money belt looked at the sign that clearly said, "No ticket, no entry." He grinned at the guard and asked, "Okay. But what about one ticket for 2 people? We're small." The guard pointed at the sign, then at each of them. "1?" he said. "1?" Then he pointed at the exit. 0. The math hit harder than any fine, and in Tokyo again, late at night on a sleepy suburban platform, the sign quietly switched from "Last Train 2352" to "Service Ended." A freedom guy in a faded eagle shirt slapped the screen like it owed him options. "Back home, trains would keep running if people needed them," he said. The station worker bowed slightly and replied, "In Japan, people read the sign first." Yeah, turns out the hardest thing to decode wasn't the symbols. It was the idea the world doesn't rearrange itself for you.